Hello, I'm Mayor Bob White. Every year, scams cost Americans hundreds of millions of dollars and cause emotional harm to victims and their families. As a former police officer, I know that the best way to protect yourself is through awareness and education. The more you recognize scam tactics, the less likely you will fall prey to them. There are literally thousands of scams, but they're all based on the same few principles. And knowing this can make it easier to recognize and avoid them. Most con artists or scammers are masters of persuasion and deception. They use proven strategies that appeal to a victim's emotions to lure them in. Their first objective is to make a connection, which keeps you from questioning their motivations. To do this, they will try to gain your trust or confidence, hence the term con artist, by creating a connection. This can occur by asking you questions about your health, your family, or other things that you're concerned about. Their second objective is to make themselves look credible. Most scammers will try to make themselves look official so victims won't check and discover that they have no credentials. This can include illegally claiming to be from a federal agency, known businesses, or nonprofit organizations. Some will even go as far as to fake a real phone number in order to fool caller ID systems. Lastly, a scammer will use emotion to discourage you from being careful. The best ones can actually make you feel guilty for questioning their motives. Don't let your guard down because someone tries to tug at your emotions. Scammers will do anything they can to steal your personal information and your hard-earned money. They will try to trick you by offering you a large sum of money or by saying you've won a prize from a lottery or competition. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. There are no get-rich schemes, so always think twice before handing over your details or dollars. Scammers sometimes impersonate genuine charities and ask for donations or contact you to collect money for a worthy cause. They will have invented all sorts of fake money-making opportunities to prey on your enthusiasm and get hold of your cash. They also use all kinds of sneaky methods to steal your personal information. Once obtained, they can use your identity to commit other crimes. Sometimes they will even resort to threats and extortion. If you've been the victim of a scam, call the police department immediately at 201-843-7000. Please don't be afraid or embarrassed. It can happen to anyone, and there are people and agencies that can help. Doing nothing will only make matters worse. The following educational videos were produced by the Internal Revenue Service and Federal Trade Commission. I hope you find them informative and useful. Having a better understanding of scams and knowing the warning signs can help protect you from becoming a victim. Thank you very much.
Lisa finally won the lottery. The caller told her, "You've won millions. Now just wire $400 for taxes." Eddie sold his camera online, but the buyer sent Eddie a check for more than the selling price. He asked Eddie to wire him the extra cash. Henry found a listing for the perfect rental house. The owner told him to wire the deposit and she would send the house keys. Anita's grandson called to say his wallet was stolen in London. He begged her to send money, but not to tell his mom. What happens next? Well, Lisa sent the $400 to collect her lottery prize, but she never got her winnings. She lost $400. Eddie called his bank. They said the cashier's check was probably fake, and they were right. Eddie didn't deposit the check, he didn't send the money back, and he sold his camera to someone else. Henry wired the deposit for his perfect house. He never got the keys, and when he went to the house, the owner told him it wasn't even for rent. Henry lost his deposit. Anita called her daughter. Her grandson was in college 50 miles from home, not in London, and he wasn't the one who called her. Both Eddie and Anita knew to investigate before sending money. Lisa and Henry learned to do that for the future.
Hi, I'm Monica, and I work for the Internal Revenue Service. Scammers are looking for ways to steal your money year-round. The IRS has seen an increase in tax scams, preying on honest taxpayers, especially by phone. Some of the most common scams involve con artists who pretend to be from the IRS and call victims telling them they have to pay right now or else. Don't believe it. We have formal processes in place for people with tax issues. And angry, harassing calls like these are not how we do business. The IRS does not call you about tax debt you owe without first mailing you an official notice. Other tax scammers try to rip off their victims by luring them into filing false claims for phony tax credits, non-existent rebates, or even refunds based on their Social Security benefits. These scammers sometimes use flyers, brochures, advertising free money from the IRS with little or no documentation required. Sometimes they use email. In the end, not only do the victims lose the money they paid the scammer, but they also learn their claims are rejected. Or worse, they have to return the money to the IRS, plus penalties and interest. Don't fall for it. Remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. To learn more about tax scams, go to our website, irs.gov, and type scam in the search field.
Spending time together, exercising, getting together with friends. This time of life means doing more of what we enjoy. Unfortunately, older people sometimes are a target for scams. And people who fall for a scam can lose face, along with money and confidence. That's why it's so important to pass on what you've learned. Your experience can help others. Start a conversation with the people in your life. For example, you can remind your friends and loved ones that if anyone ever asks them to send money, stop. Check it out with someone they trust. Get the real story. Once they get the real story, then they can decide what to do. You know this. You may not have gotten a call or email asking you for money, but chances are you know someone who has. Sharing what you know with those you care about can help stop the scammers in their tracks. Help someone learn to spot fraudulent phone calls, emails, or letters. Pass on what you've learned. And remember, a sure sign of a scam. If anyone contacts you and asks you to wire money, no matter who they say they are, that's a scam. You know this, so pass it on to a friend. If you spot a scam, please report it to the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC is the nation's consumer protection agency. Our mission is to stop fraud, deception, and unfair business practices, and help people recognize them. To report a scam, go online, ftc.gov/complaint, or call the FTC at 1-877-382-4357. Fraud and scams affect millions of people each year, but they don't have to affect someone you know. It's important that everybody understands the cost, financial and emotional. So share your experience. When you get an offer, stop, check it out, get the real story. Decide what to do, then tell a friend or family member about it. Pass it on.
Operation Empty Promises is part of the FTC's continuing effort to crack down on scammers who sell bogus business opportunities, fraudulent work-at-home schemes, and worthless job listings. One of the really heartbreaking things about our job is we hear over and over from consumers who tell us that mere minutes after they gave someone their credit card information, they did a simple internet search, and they found stories that made them break out in a cold sweat. Most people have read or heard about the latest successful new businesses on the internet, but not everyone has heard about the many businesses that fail and the reasons why they fail. Scammers try to take advantage of this by creating the impression that the internet is a magic place where you can easily earn money without putting in hard work or without having a solid business plan. If you're getting promises like that, it's a great sign that you're dealing with a scammer. Scammers want to create an impression that if you don't buy immediately, you're going to miss out on a valuable opportunity. They want you to give up your bank or credit card information before you've had an opportunity to look into their claims or talk to other people who've had experiences with the company. This is a classic sign of fraud. If someone is creating a high-pressure atmosphere for you, you should walk away and do your research before you buy. You should never rely on a refund policy or a money-back guarantee as a substitute for researching the offer that's been presented to you. If someone is promising you that you're going to earn a lot of money, but they're being vague about what you would do or how you would earn it, that is a sign of fraud. In the online business context, that may mean that they're telling you you're going to make a lot of money with a successful business, but they're not telling you what you would sell, how people would come to your website, or what your expenses would be. They may tell you that you don't need to know these details because they're going to take care of everything. Don't trust those claims. You need to be involved in your own business.
A teacher was what I always wanted to be. I got my doctoral degree in early childhood education. My husband and I had a wonderful marriage, and I lost him in September of last year. I got a call from someone who indicated he was from Medicare. They told me that they needed my Social Security number, they needed my bank account number for new Medicare cards. I told them I was not giving them the information and hung up the phone.
There were thousands of consumers affected by this scam. They told consumers that if they didn't provide this information that they might lose their Medicare benefits, and they implied that that would happen pretty quickly.
They called back and I continued to refuse to give them the information, but they would transfer me to someone else who would give me the same pitch they were giving me. I just wanted them off the phone. I gave them the information they wanted.
These telemarketers are professionals. They know what buttons to push. They know what to say to get people to provide their information. If you receive a call from a government agency, be very skeptical. Government agencies don't call consumers to ask them for money. They don't call consumers to ask for personal information.
I think it is very important that all of us continue to learn about scams.
Because of consumer complaints like the one we received from Dr. Bowers, we were able to go into federal court, get a freeze on the defendant's assets, and shut the company down.
I was so glad to even hear that they did win the case and shut the people down.
We've seen a great rise in the last year on money transfer frauds. Oftentimes, people will get phone calls from a relative, someone who claims to know a relative, for someone who tells them they've won a prize, for someone who tells them they've got a wonderful business opportunity. And the key is, at some point, they have to wire money to someone they don't know. And what we're trying to tell the public is, if you're ever asked to wire money to someone you don't know, it's likely a scam. Stop, think, and make sure that the person that you think you're sending money to is someone who's legitimate, someone who in fact is a relative, or someone who you have a pre-existing relationship with. The problem is that money wire scams come in all shapes and sizes. We see scams that we call the grandparent scams These are phone calls from people who purport to know a grandchild or even from a grandchild saying that they're in trouble in a foreign city or in a remote place and they need money quickly. And then the caller suggests sending money by wire. And so money is sent by wire to a friend, someone who claims to be a friend of a relative or a grandchild. The money is transferred and it disappears. Once it's wired, it evaporates. There's no way for you to get it back. And we're seeing a real rise in those kinds of scams. Other kinds of scams are what we call the prize scams. You're called up, you're told that you've won a prize. All you need to do is give them to wire some money, and then they will send you the prize, or they'll ask you to send them a check so they have information about your checking account, and they will drain your money. And so these kinds of scams take all kinds of forms, but the bottom line rule is that if you're asked to wire money to someone you don't know, it's almost certainly a scam. One scam we're seeing a lot of, wire scams, starts with you getting a check from someone you don't know. And as soon as you deposit that check, and that person will be asking you to use that check for some of your own purposes, and then to wire them some money back. The problem is the bank has to clear your check within a couple of days, even before it's certain that the check is valid. And and this happens all the time, if you wire money back thinking there's money in your account and it turns out, as it often does, that the check is a fake, you, not the bank, are liable for those overdrafts. So people are looking for work and will get a call from someone who says, for instance, they've been selected to be a mystery shopper, and they will soon get a check for thousands of dollars that will pay not only their salary, but will pay them to go shop at stores, at sort of stores that are available everywhere. They'll cash the check, the bank will clear the check because the bank doesn't have any choice, and then they'll go out, spend some money, and wire money back to their employer. Or so they think. But they're not wiring back the employer's money because that check was fake. What they're doing is they're wiring money they don't have, but they will be liable for, and they will end up in debt as a result of this. Let me make one thing clear. Money transfers are a useful way to get money to people you know and you've had dealings with in the past quickly and efficiently. What we're worried about is using money transfers to send money to people you don't know or haven't had any dealings with in the past. That's a red flag that oftentimes is not a false alarm. So suppose you've fallen prey to one of these scams and you sent a wire transfer to someone you don't know, or you've cashed a check that turns out to be fake and sent a wire transfer based on that. The first thing you should do is report that incident to the wire transfer company so it can conduct an investigation. Then please file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. You can do that either through our website at ftc.gov, or you can do it by phone at 1-877-FTC-HELP.
The financial problem started when I was injured at work. There was no money coming in. I had to figure something out quick.
We received our letter of default around Christmas time.
There's nothing worse than having the fear that you're about to lose your home. The desperation that goes along with that is very intense for just anyone. We did go out to see if we could find some foreclosure prevention companies, but during the conversation and meeting with them, we found out that the first thing that they wanted up front from us was money before we even filled out the application. There's lots of companies that were offering the services and making a lot of promises to us that they could save our home. I really just didn't feel comfortable with them at all, and I just decided to take another path.
There are a lot of companies claiming that they can stop the foreclosure process or help you modify your loan. You should be extremely cautious of people who make any guarantee, ask for money up front, or tell you to make your mortgage payments to them.
I called one of them loan modification specialists. They said they could help. They needed a $500 deposit and then $3,000 after that. They said they had attorneys working on their side. They would talk to the mortgage company. They took my money and they didn't do anything for us at all.
We were desperate to save our house, and I guess that's why we believed in them.
It was just a scam.
All of a sudden on a Saturday night, our front doorbell rings. I open the door and there's this lady on our front step talking at the top of her voice saying, "You're going into foreclosure, you're going to lose your home." Well, I immediately asked her to leave. I then called my servicer and they didn't know anything about her. Apparently it was a scam.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of scam artists out there. Some even look to be affiliated with the government. Their websites have official-looking logos and graphics, and their names include words like federal. Hope Now connects you with counselors that provide free foreclosure prevention assistance.
When I met with the counselor that Hope Now connected me with, I was a little suspicious when I first went in there. I noticed that she didn't ask me for any money. I really felt that there was someone finally here that could help me now. I do believe that Hope Now saved my house. If it wasn't for them, I don't know where I would be. We probably wouldn't be sitting here today.
Our counselor was so professional, I was impressed. She looked at our entire situation and helped guide us through the whole process. Everything that she has done was free, no cost to us.
Time is of the essence when it comes to the risk of foreclosure. No one can guarantee you can get a loan modification or that they can stop the foreclosure process. But if you are in trouble, the first thing to do is contact your mortgage company and get housing counseling. You can do this by contacting the Homeowners Hope Hotline at 888-995-HOPE. The sooner you call, the sooner you can get peace of mind.
It's very scary knowing you could lose your house. You feel like you're all alone in the world. It's hard to know who you can trust, but you can't let that fear lead you down the wrong path with people who might be out to scam you. There are real people offering real help, and they're at 888-995-HOPE.